You didn't pay for any of this. Mark didn't raise his voice, but he didn't need to. It landed clean, sharp enough that the entire table caught it. Conversations didn't stop all at once, they faded, like the room itself was listening. Forks slowed. Someone let out a small laugh that didn't last. And then the look started, curious, confused, some already convinced. All of them on me. Mark leaned back slightly, almost amused. I mean, let's be honest. And just like that, the night shifted. I didn't speak. I just sat there, staring at the dinner I had spent weeks planning, the table I had quietly paid for, the moment that somehow didn't belong to me anymore. I could have corrected him. I could have ended it right there, with a single sentence. But I didn't need to. Because some truths don't need to be defended, they just need time to surface. Have you ever been in a room where the truth is obvious but no one chooses it? Because in that moment I realized this wasn't going to end the way they thought. My name is Elena. In my family, I learned early that being loud didn't make you right, it just made you heard. So, I became the opposite. Quiet. Reliable. The one who handled things before anyone noticed they needed handling. If something was falling apart, I fixed it. If something needed planning, I planned it. No credit. No discussion. Just done. And over time, that became my place. Not the daughter they defended, the one they depended on. What no one at that table knew was that I had paid for everything. The reservation was under my name. The menu they were enjoying, I had chosen it. Every detail, every arrangement, every decision had quietly passed through me. And as Mark spoke like he owned the night, one thought kept repeating in my head. They really have no idea. I almost smiled. Not because it was funny, but because the truth felt so far from that table it didn't even belong in the same room. Mark had always been like this. Confident in a way that made people stop questioning. He didn't demand attention, he stepped into it like it was already his. And people followed. Because confidence, when it goes unchallenged, becomes truth in other people's eyes. My parents didn't support him when he was wrong. But they didn't stop him either. And that kind of silence teaches you something quietly. Who gets protected? And who gets practiced at being ignored? I didn't plan that dinner for recognition. I planned it because my parents hadn't had a proper celebration in years. Money had been tight, and they would never ask. So I didn't wait for them to. I adjusted my own life. Saved quietly. Planned everything carefully. I remember confirming the booking and thinking, this will make them feel special again. That was enough for me. At least, I thought it was. A few days before the dinner, things started to feel off. Mark would say small things like, I've handled it, or don't worry, it's all set. Nothing direct. Nothing you could easily challenge. Just enough to slowly reshape the story. At first, I ignored it, because correcting him would turn into a conversation, and conversations in my family never stayed simple. Still, I noticed. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a quiet thought settled in. This might not go the way I expect. When I walked into the restaurant that night, I felt it immediately. Everything looked perfect, exactly how I had imagined. But the energy was different. People greeted Mark first. He stood near the center, relaxed, smiling, like someone hosting a night he created. And for a second, I just stood there, taking it in. Not surprised. Just aware. Still, I took my seat. Because sometimes, you let moments unfold. Even when you already understand them. Then Mark stood up. Glass in hand. Smile easy. Voice steady. He thanked everyone for coming. Talked about effort. Planning. Bringing everyone together. Each word landed smoothly, like it had already been accepted before he even said it. And then he looked at me. You didn't pay for any of this. A soft laugh followed. Vivian tilted her head slightly. Let the real family enjoy it. Some people smiled. Some looked uncomfortable. Most said nothing. And just like that, the truth was replaced. I didn't look at Mark. I looked at my parents. Because even after everything, some part of me still expected something. A pause. A correction. A simple, that's not true. But it never came. My mother adjusted her napkin, avoiding my eyes like there was something more important on the table. My father picked up his glass, took a slow sip, and set it back down. No reaction. No interruption. Just silence. Tell me honestly, what hurts more? The lie or watching the people who raised you choose it? That's when it clicked. This wasn't about the dinner. It wasn't about money. It wasn't even about Mark. This was about where I stood in their story. And for the first time, I didn't feel the need to change it. No anger. No argument. Just clarity. So I stood up quietly. No one stopped me.
No one asked why.
I picked up my phone and walked out. Outside, everything felt still. I sat in my car, hands resting on the steering wheel, just staring ahead. No tears. No shaking. Just silence. And then I reached for my phone. Opened my contacts. Pressed call. When the manager answered, I confirmed my name. The reservation. There was a small pause. Then I said calmly, I'd like to withdraw the payment authorization. No explanation. No hesitation. Just a decision that felt long overdue. Back inside, nothing changed immediately. People were still eating, still talking, still trying to smooth over the tension. Until the manager approached the table. Polite. Controlled. Excuse me, who will be covering the bill? There was a pause. Then Mark reached for his card. Confident. Relaxed. Like this was routine. He handed it over. The machine beeped.
Declined.
A small shift in the room. He frowned slightly, tried again. Declined. This time no one spoke. The manager checked again. The reservation isn't under your name. Silence. And the original authorization has been removed. That's when it landed. Not loudly, but completely. Conversation stopped. People looked at each other, then at him. His wife's expression changed first. Not anger. Not yet. Just realization. Vivian didn't say a word this time. And Mark, for the first time that night, had nothing to say. In the end, my father paid. Not because he wanted to, but because there was no story left to hide behind. The night didn't end. It unraveled. People left in fragments. Conversations cut short. Questions hanging in the air. My phone started ringing soon after.
Mark.
My mother. Others. I let it ring. Because for once, I wasn't responsible for fixing what they chose to ignore. I didn't walk away angry. I just stopped showing up in places where I had to disappear to belong. When my mother finally spoke to me, her voice was quieter than I had ever heard it. She said she stayed silent because it was easier. Because speaking up would have caused problems. And maybe it would have. But silence has a cost. And I had paid enough. So I set boundaries. Real ones. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just clear. Because family isn't who shares your name, it's who stands up for you when you're not in the room. And if you've ever been the one who gave everything and still got treated like nothing, tell me, would you have stayed silent?